Hey guys! Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy X. Last time, we fumbled around with all of the monster catching in the Comlands and made our way to back to Macalonia to unlock one of the celestial weapons, the one for Yuna, who for some reason is always at the bottom of my party list. I don't know why. But even though we've unlocked half of it, it's still not very good. Now we need to unlock both the crest and the sigil. I heard in the Japanese version they were known as something else. They were called, oh, what were they? Scrolls and Holy Scrolls? Oh, do not. Thank you. Now, these guys are a pain in the ass, and you want to be very, very careful around them. Luckily, all bed potions take care of a lot of the issues with them, and this could be game over. Unfortunately, the game really loves to do this to me, and it's really hard to actually kill these guys in an ambush. I would like to get to Tidus's turn so I can run away, please! Though that's not going to happen. Let's bring in Waka. Now, ideally, what I want to do is I want to be able to steal from these guys, but they make it really hard because they inflict Petrify so freaking often. And the reason I want to steal is Is it a rare steal? Game, you suck. I was hoping it was a common steal. Oh well. So yeah, what I want to be able to steal from them is Petrify grenades. But unfortunately, that's not going to work out. If you want more Petrify grenades, you're going to have to go to the Comlands and fight the Anacondors some more. Let's see. So we had you in. Bring in you. Bring in Lulu. And bring in Tidus again to finish things off. It can be a very scary battle when you run into 3 of those. You may want to equip some characters with something that protects you against stone in this area, just in case you run into those guys. It's one of the reasons why I picked up this armor for Lulu, though there'll be other uses for it as well. That makes her immune. And do I have anything else? Anyone else that has something useful? I could on you, but I'm not going to. No. We do have stone proof for you, so I'll put that on you. No, looks like nobody else has it. So at least I've got 2 people with it. My 2 mages have stone proof. That'll make things a little easier. This is a teleport pad that we can't use quite yet. Now, this dungeon is unique in a number of ways. Before we do that, let's see how far along I have more than enough. Sweet. I managed to steal lots of Petrified grenades from the Anacondors and the Comlands every time I was there. And due to that, I want to customize something for Kamari here. His Taming Spear. I want to put... Where is it? Stone Strike. There it is. And the thing is, with a capture weapon, you can, if you inflict something that does death instantly on strike, such as Stone Strike or Death Strike, it still counts toward the capture. If you cast, say, something, a Silence Grenade or something like, or a Petrified Grenade on the enemy, you'd petrify them, but you wouldn't get the capture. So what I'm going to do is, because Kamari's not dealing enough damage, I'm going to have him this way, so that he can actually petrify the enemies. And then you'll note last time that we got something else as one of the prizes. Farplane wins for unlocking the Chimergeist. I'm going to add Death Strike to Riku's weapon because neither of them do enough damage outright to capture things, but now I have 2 more people who can capture enemies, and it's relatively worthwhile to do this, in my opinion, because now I don't have to rely on only a few people to do it. Now, of course, the enemy has to be susceptible to the status effect, and Strike is a lot higher % chance than Touch, but it's not 100% every single time. Okay, I was starting to say something about this area being unique. Okay, we'll talk about this guy first. This is the Magic Urn. If you attack him, well, we'll show it off once. I'll guess this one. There you go, success. Basically, I think he's got 5 eyes or something like that, and if you select the right one, you get lucky, you get a random item from him. If you get, or maybe it's more eyes than that. If you get it wrong. Seriously? How'd I do that twice in a row? More Phoenix Downs. Woot. It doesn't matter what kind of weapon you hit him with. Bring in Riku, sure. I don't think you can steal from this guy. But once you get yourself wrong, he will attack you, and things do not end very well because he does way too much damage. The way I would deal with this guy is run. There's only 2 ways in the game to possibly kill this guy, and you get no extra experience or money or anything like that for doing it. One is the super instant death attack we're about to get access to, and 2 is the doom spell. So yeah, anytime I run into this guy, I'm just gonna run away. There's no reason to fight him. It just leads you closer to death than you want, and the items aren't very good anyway. There we go. Can I get the chest? Thank you. Mega Elixir. So yeah, this is an optional dungeon. You don't have to do it. It is unique for a number of reasons. And there we go. Captured, instant death. Don't have to worry about how much HP they had in that case. But you can also capture him that way. Let's see. We'll bring in Waka. He's got Sensor. You shouldn't one-shot him. But they do counter with Pollen, so you do want sleep protection against these guys, I believe. Yeah. And it's a pain in the ass because it's going to last a little while, and all he does is cast spells, which is why I waited until there was only one left before attacking. But yeah, you probably don't want to hit them if you're not going to one-shot them. I was going to find out what I could steal from them, but I'll do that later. That's the only battle formation I believe with them is the one that we found right there. Let's watch a little cutscene before we move on.
What's a fayth doing in a place like this?
Don't ask me.
They say it was stolen from a temple long ago.
Huh?
With no faith, summoners cannot train. Without training, they cannot call the final aeon. Without the final aeon, they cannot defeat sin. That is why.
'Cause then the summoner won't die.
Must have been an Albed.
That must be what the thief was thinking.
Other than the fact that her personality lines up with being a thief, small,
I kind of agree with
small
you.
of stature, fast character that Riku is, it also is kind of ironic that, the thief character is Albed, considering that the Albed is the one that tend to do kidnapping and stealing and stuff like that in the plot line of the game as well. No, we don't want to fight this guy. Go away. I'm not even going to cut that out. That would take too long to cut that out. It is the most common enemy you can find in here, so kind of be aware of that. Let's go do it. One more battle first, and then we'll talk about it. Of course, it's this guy over and over again. This is the first area where we've had to really worry about what I guess could be called an encounter zone. This is known as the green room, and the way this whole thing works is it's kind of weird. There are encounter zones where you're more likely to encounter certain enemies. Now, people have done testing on this. Some people say it's superstition. Some say you can do a soft reset, which you can't do in the Steam version of the game, to reset the encounters, so you get better ones. In my case, I've tried to farm one specific enemy in here for an hour and found one of them, and come in here and got it all 10 of them in like half an hour, 40 minutes. So it's still a rare enemy, but you can encounter it here more often. So what I would do if I was going to capture the monsters here is I would run around in this room, because in this room you can encounter tonberries with much more accuracy, much more consistency than anywhere else in the entire dungeon. Point kind of made, but that's also random luck. Okay, defeat it before then or else. He will walk forward 4 times, and then he will kill you. He does counter with Karma, which will do damage based on how many enemies you've killed, which means Tidus is dead. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He won't counter every single time, obviously, but let's use some of those Phoenix Downs we just got. But yeah, he's kind of a pain in the ass in that way. I don't like fighting Tonberries in this game, except for one purpose, and that will be explained much, much, much later in the game. So we'll bring Lulu in for a quick sec. We'll guard with you. Bring in Yuna for a sec. What does he have to steal? I don't remember. Well, that's not particularly useful at all. I would try and petrify him, but Auron hasn't got a turn yet, so. Now, Auron's probably killed a decent amount, but because Tidus is so much faster and because he's got so much more damage in my file, chances are not as much. I don't know if he's susceptible to Death or Stone Strike.
I have a bad feeling about this.
As well you should.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's capture him there. And yeah, you're going to run into him, you know, based on everything I've seen personally and anything I've read. Wow. I forgot he dropped those. Oh well, that works. But yeah, far more often you're going to find them in here, in this particular room, than in any other room in the game. I would farm here to capture all the enemies until you have all 10 Tonberries, and then I would go to the very first room, which seems to give you the most balance. People have segmented this into rooms, and I'm going to put up a graphic here. Just give me a sec. Okay, there we go. So this particular graphic was colored in blue at the entrance. Normally, they don't cut it there. It's actually kind of weird. This map's slightly different from the one I'm used to using. This just happened to be the one I found. So normally it's the first area where that blue is that you'll do the majority of your farming, because it seems to be the most balanced. As you can see, this also has some treasure lists. The green room, where we just got our level 2 key sphere, that's where you're going to find most of the Tonberries. I find the red room at the very end is really unbalanced. You seem to find more magic urns there than anything else. Like, I've looked at forums where people have, you know, multiple times have fought like 100 battles in each of these zones just to find out kind of where the encounters tend to be. So anyway, I just figured I'd point that out so that you guys have an easier time catching monsters. I will be doing this in between episodes, so don't worry about me doing the rest of it on screen. But I would like to show at least one of all the remaining monsters in here. But we can encounter most of them out here, just the Tonberry is extremely rare. So yeah, the rest of this dungeon's not particularly long or anything like that. It just happens to have a relatively fast encounter rate. I don't think there was an item over here. And it has a bunch of new enemies. The Imp is, I think he's some kind of an elemental or something like that. There we go. Petrify him. And let's see, we'll attack you once, bring in everybody else for the experience. I don't even need to steal from him. He doesn't have anything particularly useful. One more person. Waka. Let's see, are you susceptible to instant death? Yep. So having the Death and Stone Strike abilities, very, very useful going forward, especially later in the game, because they allow you to capture enemies with really high HP totals in one hit, instead of, you know, trying to whittle them down slowly. Alright. Here we get a Fortune Sphere. We'll be using that in the post-game, not now. Doesn't really help us all that much at this point. Really wish they wouldn't run into this guy so freaking often. He's a completely pointless enemy that you really don't need to fight. It'd be nice if we could, like, turn his encounters off by giving him an elixir or something like that, but from everything I've read, that doesn't happen. So we run into him over and over and over again and get really angry that the game won't be nicer to us. And what do we got here? Mega Potion. Now there are, here's the next L bed book, 25. That should be in line with what I have. Yeah, 25, perfect. As I was trying to say, this isn't the only area in the game with encounter areas, kind of like that green room. Another notable example is the Thunder Plains. Only the northern half has access to the Iron Giants, and on the Jose High Road, the Simmer enemies, the bird-like ones, they only appear in the sunlight for the most part, or they appear drastically more often in the sunlight there, as opposed to in the shade when you're on the road there. So it's kind of tedious. There are a number of situations like that, and as I'm going to do all the capturing, which primarily I'll be doing off-screen, yeah, as I was saying, I'll be doing the capturing off-screen, but I will want to go from place to place and show you the easier places to go to capture specific enemies.
Pat, another Guado fiend?
No, an unsent.
Uh-oh. Lulu?
It is. It's you, is it not, Lady Ginham?
This is the only time in the game
I was too young.
that you hear Lulu's theme. At least to my knowledge. I don't know what that was, but it stopped descending?
There is no human left in you now, is there?
Okay, that's fine.
Very well then. Allow me to perform my last duty to you. My last as your guardian.
For whatever reason, you don't get any AP from this fight. Maybe because it's an Aeon fight, but the thing is, normally in an Aeon fight where you get no experience, it's an Aeon duel. In this case, you can actually use all your characters to fight this mysterious Aeon that we don't have access to yet. He's immune to status effects. I don't think you can steal anything from him. But yeah, you don't get any experience or anything like that for it. Let's throw a spell at you. I think he's probably not strong against any particular element. But yeah, don't worry about trying to get an overkill. It won't matter in this case. I'm not even going to worry about equipping stronger weapons or anything like that. It's really an easy fight. I'll bring in everyone even though it's unnecessary. And then we'll just beat the crap out of him with normal attacks. He's got 20,000 HP or something like that. Against all of our party members, he falls down pretty fast regardless. Just use the fast characters. I could cast Hastiga. Why? He's already almost dead. If he gets his overdrive, he can kill you outright. But that should never happen. Enough. No, not quite enough. He gets another attack in. Hurry up and die already. Orin doesn't even get a turn, he's so damn slow. Yeah, can't capture Yojimbo. No, doesn't work that way. You can't target the dog or the summoner. You can only target Yojimbo himself. The dog's name is Enkidu, by the way, just as in the mythology, and just
Strange.
Same as in
I thought
Final
it would
Fantasy
be sadder
V
somehow.
and Final Fantasy XII.
Maybe I've gotten used to farewells.
That's depressing.
You're stronger now.
Waka, I hope you're right. Yuna, the faith is inside. Go do what you came to do.
So I'm not sure if she actually got sent or anything like that, or if they did that off screen, or what they wanted to do. Yeah, in this one, for whatever reason, all these teleport pads are different depending on where they are in the game. It's kind of dumb. But you go over here, and you can get this treasure chest with a flexible arm. I thought there was another one in here. Huh. I guess not. And then you can return. And then you can go to the other side, which has another item in there. And if you press the one heading backward, you just warp back to that first one we saw at the beginning of the area. Okay, it's this side that had the two treasure chests in there. An MP sphere. And a couple of X potions. Okay, and when you're ready, you can go inside. We'll do this today. We'll go a little longer than normal. Of course, the last few episodes we've been going a little longer than I normally would have anyway, but oh well. It's just a lot to get done in this game. This is the first time we get to go in and watch the whole ceremony of Yuna praying to the faith. Oh. Ah, now the face starts to sing.
I am the blade of vengeance. They dare only whisper my name. Yojimbo. Summoner, I ask you, what do you want of me?
Well, depending on... Well, basically, you want to choose the third option. What these do is they go into the calculation for Yojimbo's attack when we get him. And without going into too much detail, which is completely unnecessary, it's better to do this one.
If you desire my strength, you must pay my price. Make
Should've,
your offer.
we should have brought Waka in here. We gotta pay! That's the other thing that choice will do. The first option, he'll start at 300,000. Second one, I think it's 275, and then the third one, obviously 250. Now, if you ever triple his asking price, you will get 2 teleport spheres in addition to getting Yojimbo. You don't want to do that, and I don't have enough money to do that. So what we're going to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we do here is we do exactly half plus 1. And you make the offer.
You expect a phoenix, yet you offer chicken feed.
Okay, today
No
he's going to
deal.
be...
Maybe next time.
He's going to be an asshole today. So we'll have to go back in. The idea is you're supposed to do exactly half plus 1. And it should... Maybe I missed time. I think I probably did just miss time or put in the numbers or something like that. Maybe I gave him 12,000 or something. Yeah, I think I did too. That's my bad. But yeah, the idea is you give him exactly half.
If you desire, make your offer.
Okay. Game? Thank you. So let's see. Okay, yeah, so I was off by 1. So yeah, there we go. You make the offer of exactly half. And now there is a way to get him to, I think it's 190,030 or something like that. But if you just do this,
We have a deal.
and now he's asking 205. Once he does this, you can go up to about 195.
No deal.
Usually
Next
he
time.
accepts it. And in my previous playthrough, he did accept it. But yeah, basically it's just a way of trying to get him to cheap out a little bit because 250,000 gil is half of what we have at this point. And we have other purchases we need to make as well. So we'll try this one more time, and maybe I'll give him a little more. I've heard 198,000 is the magic number, but in my test run I got 195, and it worked just fine, so I don't know.
Do we have it?
Okay, and add one more.
Do we have...
And let's see. Let's do 198.
Adequate. You are my client henceforth.
Yeah, so
My sword shall guard you on your journey, Summoner.
that's obtaining Yojimbo. Now, Yojimbo has some different attacks compared to other Aeons, and you don't get to really control him in battle. I'll go over in more detail later, but we saw kind of his first two attacks, the dog attacking and the dagger. He also has a sword, and he has a much better sword, which involves way more money than I probably have. Though in the international and HD versions of the game, his starting compatibility with you, which is involved in the damage calculation of which attack he's going to use, because you give him money and he randomly uses one of the attacks. It jumped up. I think it more than doubled from what it started at before. So I think it starts at 128 and the max is 255. And compatibility goes down by 3 if he uses the Diagoro. It goes down by 1 if you use Kozuka. Wakizashi can either hit one target, and that's +1, or all targets, and then it's +3. And Zanmato can, I think it ups it by 4, but the entire point of upping compatibility is to get him to use Zanmato. Just because it's instant death to all enemies in the game. And by in the game, I mean every single one of them. All super bosses, all enemies in general. If you have the ability to have Yojimbo at that point in the plot, you can use Yojimbo to use Zanmato. It's just really, really expensive. You have to give him tons of money. You have to up his compatibility, which requires tons of money. And in my opinion, for the most part, like, I've never used it myself because I've never been able to make it work. I've tried to give him a million gil and he still never uses it for me. So I don't know. I don't think it's really all that worthwhile. But next time we're here, we will be going through and showing off the remaining enemies in the area. And in between, I'll be doing as much capturing as I can. Well, we'll show off this guy first. This guy is Ghost. This guy will have a different elemental weakness each time. He's a pain in the ass to capture. Has high defense. I think he's immune to armor break. And let's see here. There is one other thing we can do here.
Reach the far plane.
No, he's a ghost. Steal Phoenix Downs from him. All he does all day is cast Doom. Which, you know, 5 turns. Really? That's the other way to kill the magic urns, by the way, is Doom. But instead of a count of 5, it's a count of 200. He needs 200 turns to die. Really, really stupid. Alright, so steal something else. You can also rarely get far plane shadows from him. Kamari should be able to learn something from him. Yeah, Doom. Which, you know, is only useful for the above reasons that I mentioned, really. So you're weak to fire. Hopefully that doesn't kill him. He's rather uncommon, so I would rather not worry too much about, you know, having to encounter him one extra time. But he also gives crap for experience, so in future cases, do not bother to bring in all your characters. Just fight him outright with whoever's in your party and can kill him the fastest and then end the battle. Not enough experience to really be worthwhile doing much of anything else. Actually, I'm going to save over this other one here. Anyway, in between episodes, I'll be doing my my capturing, and then I'll show you all of the enemies that we haven't so far shown off. And yeah, that's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.